Welcome to the Kendo and Aido Italia podcast in this English language version. Enjoy listening.
Here we are again with a new episode of the podcast for Budo enthusiasts.
Sure.
One of our listeners asked us for clarification on the parts of the katana. So here we are, trying to give an overview of the components of a sword. And, that overview is really vital because whenever you see a katana outside of, serious study, maybe in anime or games, movies, we just focus on how cool it looks. Or the blade itself, right?
Aesthetics.
Yeah, exactly. And the specific bits, like the Tsuba, the guard, or the Tsuka, the handle, even that string, the Sageo, they often just get treated like decoration.
Purely ornamental sometimes.
But for the samurai, these weren't just decorations. They were essential engineering choices. So our mission today is to really dive deep into the engineering, the function, and get past just the looks to understand how these parts work together, like a samurai's integrated survival kit.
That's a great way to put it. It really is form following intense function, and we're focusing mostly on the standard katana design, from the Edo period onwards, because that design really represents the peak of that ignition. These parts are absolutely crucial to how the sword works, how it balances, how you even carry it safely.
Okay, right. So let's start unpacking that, maybe with the part that handles immediate defense and balance, the Tsuba, that metal ring, between the handle and the blade.
Ah, the Tsuba. Yes.
And if you think it only does one thing, well, you're missing quite a bit. It seems it has to juggle, 4 different objectives all at the same time?
4, exactly. It's fascinating how much work that little piece of metal actually does. The first function is, it's pure physics, balance.
Right.
The blade itself, the nagasa, it's heavy steel. The handle is mostly light wood, so the Tsuba acts as a counterweight. It shifts the balance point closer to your hand.
That makes sense. And that weight isn't trivial either, is it? It can vary quite a lot, like 50 grams up to maybe 200 grams.
Precisely. And that weight difference is a huge clue. It reflects the sword's intended purpose, the fighting style. Well, if you had a sword mainly for quick draw techniques, Aijutsu, you'd probably want a lighter Tsuba, maybe one with those decorative holes cut out, makes the tip move faster during the draw.
Ah, okay.
But if the sword was built for heavy cutting, sustained fighting, then the Tsuba would likely be heavier, thicker, more mass near the grip. So yeah, the weight of that little ring tells you a lot about the samurai's intended combat style.
Okay, so that connects the engineering straight to the battlefield.
Yeah.
Function number 2 is the obvious one, I guess. Hand protection.
Yes, it shields your hand from an opponent's blade, definitely. But maybe even more importantly, it protects you from yourself.
How do you mean?
Think about a really powerful stab or thrust. The force of that impact could easily make your hand slide forward right onto the sharp edge of your own blade.
Ouch. Yeah.
The Tsuba is the emergency brake for your grip, stops your fingers from getting sliced off. It's critical internal safety.
Right. Okay. Which leads to the third function. Because if protection was the only goal, wouldn't the guard be much bigger, like a basket hilt or something, like on Western swords?
Exactly. Good point. Why is the Tsuba usually small and round?
Okay, why?
Because of the need for a seamless draw.
Yeah.
A big, clunky guard would snag on your clothes, your armor. The specific small, rounded shape actually helps you start the draw.
Oh.
When the samurai brings their left hand to the scabbard, the saya, they place their thumb right onto the Tsuba.
Okay.
And they give it a little push, just enough to nudge the blade forward slightly in the scabbard.
So that breaks the friction of the tight fit.
Precis. Breaks the seal. It loosens the blade just enough so the right hand can whip it out quickly, silently.
Yeah.
If you try to draw a tightly fitted sword without using the Tsuba for that initial push, you lose all that speed and stealth.
Clever.
Great.
Okay, so balance, self-protection, facilitating the draw. What's the fourth function?
The fourth one is about meaning and prosperity. The Tsuba wasn't just functional metal. It was often an independent work of art, a place to express wishes, beliefs.
The decorative aspect, but with purpose.
Yeah.
Like specific designs.
Exactly. Rich symbolism. For example, you might see a boar motif. That wasn't just generic bravery. It signified a specific kind of courage. Reckless, violent charge ahead no matter what kind of courage.
Like Inosuke from Demon Slayer?
Sort of, yeah. It's projecting that desired fighting spirit. Or you might see something elegant like wisteria, Fuji.
Okay.
The pronunciation is close to buji, which means safety. And wisteria vines wrap really tightly around things, right?
Yeah, they do.
So that symbolized long life, fertility, and this idea of never letting go of good luck. These designs told a whole story before the sword was even drawn.
Wow. Okay, so the Tsuba manages impact coming towards the hand. Now let's shift to the handle itself, the Tsuka. That has to deal with the shock going through your hand when you cut, right? Tell us about that complex structure.
Yeah, the Tsuka is really brilliantly designed for that. Its main jobs are flexibility and shock absorption, achieved through a layered construction. It starts with the core, the base structure that covers the nakago.
The nakago being the metal tang of the blade that goes inside the handle.
Exactly, that long, unpolished part. And this base structure is usually made from honoki wood.
Honoki. Now that seems a bit strange. Why use a wood that's only moderately soft? Wouldn't you want something super hard like iron?
You'd think so, but no. A really rigid material would transfer all the vibration and shock straight into your arms and joints.
Ah, causing fatigue or injury.
Right. Honoki wood is moderately soft, but it's also elastic. It dampens that shock, reduces the stress. Plus, it helps keep moisture away from the metal tang, preventing rust, which is obviously critical. It's this perfect mix of light, elastic, and protective.
Okay, that makes sense. So after the honoki wood core, what's next? That bumpy layer, the shark leather.
The same hata, although technically it's usually stingray skin, not shark.
Stingray, right, gotcha.
And that bumpy texture is incredible. If you look closely, the surface is covered in these tiny, hard, calcified bumps, tubercles.
Like sandpaper.
Almost, yeah. It provides an amazing non-slip grip, even if your hands are sweaty or wet. Absolutely vital in a fight. It's tough, but still workable, and they'd often lacquer it.
To protect it.
Mainly to protect the wood underneath from moisture, which is the weak point. But yeah, there was also a belief, that having the skin of this fierce creature gave the sword some spiritual power, too.
Huh. Early ergonomics meets spiritual belief.
Right.
Okay, so wood core, stingray skin, then the wrapping, the tsukamaki.
That's step 3, the Tsuka-maki. This is the wrapping that goes over the stingray skin. Usually silk braid, sometimes leather, maybe even cloth. It's applied using kumihimo.
Which isn't just wrapping thread around, right? It's a specific braiding technique.
Oh, it's highly sophisticated. Ancient Japanese braiding. Much more complex than just a simple wrap.
And what does that complex braid achieve?
2 main things. First, structural reinforcement. It helps stop the honoki wood base from splitting if the handle takes a hard knock.
Okay.
Second, it creates that perfect ergonomic grip. The woven pattern makes those distinct diamond shapes you see.
Yeah.
Your fingers just naturally fit into those ridges and valleys. It gives you a really firm anatomical grip, locking the weapon in your hand even under intense pressure.
Okay, the layers make sense, but we can't talk about the handle without mentioning the little fittings that hold it all together, starting with the mekugi, that little pin.
Ah, yes, the mekugi, usually made of bamboo. It's just a small pin inserted through holes that go through the handle wrap, the stingray skin, the wood core, and the metal tang. Nakago?
And it just holds the blade and handle together. Seems simple.
It does, but there's more to it. First, it has to be easily removable, right, for maintenance. You need to take the sword apart to clean and oil it.
True.
But here's the really clever bit. Why bamboo? Bamboo is chosen because it acts as a deliberate shear point.
A weak point. On purpose.
Yeah, exactly. It's strong enough to hold everything together during normal use, normal cutting. But if the sword takes a really extreme, catastrophic hit, like striking heavy armor or stone really hard, the bamboo mekugi is designed to snap before the shock damages the expensive honoki wood handle, or worse, cracks the metal nakago.
So it's like a fuse, a cheap, replaceable part designed to fail safely to protect the more valuable components.
Precisely. Brilliant engineering through limitation.
That really is clever. Okay, and the other little fittings. The menuki.
The menuki. These are the 2 small, often decorative metal pieces you see on the sides of the handle under the wrap. Originally, they might have helped secure the mekugi, but their main role evolved.
Decoration?
Partly, yes, but also grip enhancement. Their placement is very specific. Usually one is a bit higher on the left side, one a bit lower on the right. That puts them right where your palms and fingers naturally make contact when you grip the sword properly. They provide extra purchase points, improving control. And like the Tsuba, their designs often carried meaning, wishes for luck, prosperity, that kind of thing.
Okay, wow. We've gone from metallurgy in the Tsuba to material science and ergonomics in the Tsuka. Now, the last bit. The Sageo. That braided cord attached to the scabbard. Sorry. This one seems simpler material-wise, but maybe the most mysterious historically.
It really is. The Sageo perfectly illustrates that integrated survival kit idea. Today, though, its use is pretty straightforward, especially for modern martial arts trainees.
Right. Today it's usually quite long, like 180 to 240 centimeters.
Yeah, much longer than they used to be. And its main function now is just to tie the scabbard, saya, securely to your hakama or belt, stops it slapping around or falling out when you move. Safety, basically.
But historically, back in the samurai era, the sources suggest it was shorter, maybe around 150 centimeters. And,
Right.
well, its main purpose is debated, right?
Heavily debated. No one knows for sure, but historians have proposed, I think, 5 main theories, all pointing to it being a multi-tool, born from necessity.
Okay, let's hear them. Theory 1.
Field survival. Theory 1. Treating injuries. A strong cord is perfect as a makeshift tourniquet to stop severe bleeding. Or you could use it to tie a splint onto a broken arm or leg right there on the battlefield. Instant first aid.
Makes sense. Theory 2.
Connects back to the handle. Theory 2. Emergency repair. Imagine that fancy Tsuka-maki wrap on your handle gets cut or breaks in the middle of a fight.
Yeah, you'd lose your grip.
Exactly. The Sageo could be quickly unwound from the scabbard and wrapped around the handle as a temporary emergency grip reinforcement, just enough to keep fighting.
Resourceful. Theory 3.
Logistics. Theory 3. Carrying the sword. Pairing 2 swords, the long katana and the shorter wakizashi stuck in your belt all day, every day, especially traveling long distances. That's gotta be tiring. Awkward.
Yeah, I bet.
So, the theory goes, the Sageo was used to tie the longer sword onto the samurai's back, distributes the weight better for travel, makes it essential travel gear, not just a scabbard accessory.
Practical. What about more aggressive uses?
Right. Theory 4, capturing an enemy. If you managed to subdue an opponent and needed to tie them up quickly for questioning or transport what's readily available,
The cord on your scabbard.
instantly accessible rope. Pure pragmatism.
Okay, that covers a lot. What's the 5th theory? This is the really dramatic one, right?
This is the most debated, perhaps most fascinating one. Theory 5, fighting in the dark. Using a technique sometimes called zasuguri ho,
Yeah.
roughly translates to searching while seated or searching while drawing.
Using the string as like a night vision sensor. Is that a real thing samurai did or more like ninja legend?
Well, there is some historical documentation suggesting its use, especially in situations where samurai absolutely needed awareness in pitch black conditions. It wasn't maybe common practice, but potentially used. There are 2 ways it supposedly worked. Method 1. You draw the blade just a little bit, maybe 10 centimeters out of the scabbard. Then you hold the handle and the Sageo together, keeping the cord taut.
Right.
If an unseen opponent touched or bumped the exposed tip of the scabbard in the dark, the vibration, the sound, would travel up the taut string to your hand, instantly telling you their direction.
So the scabbard becomes a kind of directional probe.
Exactly. The second method is even more intense. You'd hold the taut Sageo in your mouth.
In your mouth? Seriously?
Apparently, if the scabbard tip was hit, the string would be instantly knocked loose from your mouth. This signals the enemy's presence and direction, and simultaneously frees your hands to immediately draw and cut or stab.
Wow. That requires incredible focus and control.
Absolutely. It shows how every single component, even a simple cord, was potentially part of the survival system. Now, whether this was more a ninja thing that samurai perhaps adopted, that's part of the debate, but the idea of using everything available is key.
So if we pull it all together, the katana isn't just a blade. It's this incredibly sophisticated system. Every piece has multiple critical jobs.
Absolutely. The Tsuba is managing balance, protecting the hand, enabling the draw, and carrying meaning.
The Tsuka is this masterpiece of material science wood, stingray skin, braided wrap, all designed to absorb shock and provide perfect grip.
And held together by that ingenious little bamboo mekugi, the safety fuse.
Right. And finally, the Sageo. Today, just a safety tie, but historically. Possibly a first aid tool, a repair kit, travel gear, a restraint, maybe even a low-light sensor, a true survival multi-tool.
That integration is the core lesson, I think. The samurai couldn't carry a separate toolbox for every possibility. They built their essential survival tools right into the primary weapon they carried every single day.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener. In a culture that often values singular focus, the katana is this brilliant paradox, isn't it? Every part seems hyper-specialized, the specific wood, the stingray skin, the bamboo pin, yet the whole thing becomes this integrated, multi-purpose survival machine. So think about this. What critical components in your own life, or maybe your work, are hiding in plain sight? things you might dismiss as just decoration, but are actually essential for your balance, your safety, your function. Thank you again for joining us and for following along in this new episode of the podcast for Budo enthusiasts. See you next time.
Thank you for listening to this podcast.
Kendo Iaido Italia, il podcast.